According to Mackenzie Hall, a registered dietitian in a newsletter from Environmental Nutrition in January 2013, stated researchers found organic produce to have 30% lower risk of pesticide contamination. As seniors about to adventure into the world on our own, we are going to be buying and consuming our own foods, and we need to know not only how it affects us, but the environment. Environmental or organic farming practices are beneficial to the environment and its inhabitants. Today I will be informing you on how organic farming practices produce healthier foods, help to prevent soil erosion, and conserve the cleanliness of water supplies. My first point will be to talk about how organic farming practices produce healthier foods. Organic farming practices do not use any synthetic fertilizers or pesticides. According to the organic pesticide ingredients from the National Pesticide Information Center on April 26, 2017, it was stated that organic farming practices only utilize natural fertilizers and biological pesticides, which contain ingredients like lime sulfur, soaps, and hydrogen peroxide. Unlike conventional farming practices, which according to Cynthia Curl from the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health Sciences from Environmental Health Perspectives on May 12, 2015, stated conventional practices utilize organophosphate pesticides, which are also known as OPs. Also, according to Cynthia Curl, exposure to OPs varies from diet to diet, depending on what people choose to eat. However, in a long-term study of exposure to OPs was estimated, and it proved that frequent consumption of organic foods resulted in lower levels of diammonium phosphate, which is one of conventional farming's most used inorganic fertilizer. Organic foods also contain more nutrients than conventional ones. According to Ewa Rembalkowski, the head of the Department of the Functional Organic Foods and Commodities from the Encyclopedia of Food and Health from September 22, 2015, stated that organic foods contain lower amounts of contaminants and higher levels of antioxidants versus conventional ones. Also stated in that article was that organic consumers have better health statuses versus conventional ones. In fact, according to Mayo Clinic staff, in an article, Organic Foods, Are They Healthier or Safer? From the Mayo Clinic on April 18, 2017, stated that feeding requirements for organic cattle required alfalfa and grass, and the results showed that the dairy and meats produced from these cattle resulted in higher levels of omega-3 fatty acid, which is a more heart-healthy fat. Now that I've explained to you how organic farming practices produce healthier foods, I'll move on to my second point, which will be to talk about how organic farming practices help prevent soil erosion. Soil building practices such as minimum tillage, intercropping, crop rotations, and cover crops all play a major role in these practices. According to organic farming from the Hutchinson Unabridged Encyclopedia, with Atlas and Weather Guide from 2016, soil wildlife productivity is generally increased, allowing to create a more organic system. The soil's ability to absorb nutrients and water is greatly enhanced, which allows for a lower risk of ground pollution. Such benefits play an important role in organic practices. According to Jennifer Reed from the Department of Plant, Soils, and Climate from Advances in Agronomy in 2016, the length of time soil is exposed to erosive forces is generally decreased, allowing the plants to grow. Overall, these practices help soil physical properties and since I have discussed how organic farming practices help prevent soil erosion, I'll move on to my third point, which will be to discuss how organic farming practices help conserve the cleanliness of water supplies. Overall, organic farming practices prohibit certain materials and techniques. According to the Mayo Clinic staff, which I previously stated, organic farming does not allow nutrients to be injected into the soil or genetic altering to the crops. It mainly relies on the overall natural resources found on the farm. According to environmental benefits on organic agriculture from Water Management on webinar September 23, 2015, organic farming substitutes synthetic fertilizers with natural ones like organic crop organic compounds like manure and green compost. They, according to what are the environmental benefits from organic farming from the Food and Agriculture of the United Nations in 2017, farmers also use cover crops to help prevent crusting from forming on the crops to allow slower runoff. In other words, slower runoff equals less pollution. To conclude, today I have informed you how organic farming practices produce healthier foods, helps prevent soil erosion, and conserve the cleanliness of water supplies. Organic farming practices are beneficial to the environment and its inhabitants. Now that you're all informed on the practices of organic farming, maybe you can decide whether or not you would like to go organic.